Support. Give me a subscribe. Greetings, fellow veterans of 1,000 psychic wars. It's Tuesday. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. It's the 17th day of May 2022. It is 61 degrees and mostly sunny here at Site B. And we are following up on the story from yesterday about there's going to be a new D&D movie. So a company called XTR, who's most notably known for some rather unusual documentaries that they've made in the past, like a documentary on Spanish astrologer, is now working on a D&D movie, the most definitive D&D movie. It's going to be called Role Players, because obviously they can't call it Dungeons & Dragons the movie, because that's already been used. So they're calling it Role Players, and it's the definitive movie of D&D of 2022, even though it has nothing to do with Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro or anybody who, actually is associated with Dungeons & Dragons. It includes previously unseen archival footage. So what? I mean, I thought we all agreed that Secrets of Blackmoor was pretty much the definitive Dungeons & Dragons movie, right? I mean, yeah, I thought that we were all like on the same page about that, right? But nope. Okay, these guys are coming out, and these guys first claim previously unseen archival footage of, I don't know. It doesn't say. Gygax's home movies, Larry Elmore painting, Luke Gygax running a game, just previously unseen archival footage. The problem with this one is how they're choosing to encompass the entire story of Dungeons & Dragons, because the two things that really jump out when you read what they're going to do with this one is, one, they're going to be introducing high-profile celebrity D&D players. High-profile celebrity D&D players, which means basically, what? Peyton Oswalt, the Critical Role guys, and maybe Vin Diesel and Joe Montego, whatever his last name is. Obviously, they're not going to be interviewing anybody who has any actual connection with D&D, it sounds like. I don't think they're going to be interviewing Luke and Ernie. It doesn't look like they're going to be interviewing Steven or, Steve Jackson or any of those guys, but they're going to be interviewing high-profile celebrity D&D fanatics. Because you remember those high-profile celebrity D&D fanatics, those founders and legends of Dungeons & Dragons, like Deborah Ann Wool, have been there since day one. Matt Mercer was there at the same table with Gary Gygax and Dave Arnson and those guys. The founders and legends of D&D, the celebrities, fanatics of D&D. That's who we're going to be interviewing. And they're going to be focusing on the cult-like devotion of its players and exploring the power of living in a fantasy world and how it can have effects on real-life connections. Now, this has led to responses from individuals saying, oh no, is D&D rewriting its history again? Which is, of course, also a response to what's going on with Amazon and Lord of the Rings and how Amazon is sort of just completely rewriting the history of Tolkien's world. So the concerns regarding this documentary, of course, is that it has nothing to do with Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro. It doesn't sound like they're going to be talking to anybody who has any connection to Dungeons & Dragons other than the high-profile celebrities. And the fact that they seem to be focusing on the cult-like devotion of its players and how the world of living fantasy has connections on real-life humans. So basically, what? The J. Scott Garrity D&D is therapy, or D&D is bad for you? Cult-like devotion makes me think that they're going to try and focus on how D&D is, bad. Bullshit. That mazes and monsters crap. Which led to a bunch of people going, oh, they're going to rewrite D&D again. And it's like, oh, how dare they? And, the response to people saying they're going to rewrite D&D again is, of course, Wizards of the Coast is going to continue to do what they've been doing because they think that's what the fan base wants. And Hasbro is going to continue to grudgingly allow them to do what they're doing because it's making them money. And as long as what Wizards of the Coast does makes Hasbro's money. Oh, here I am being a Wizards of the Coast simp. because I'm part of the problem. As long as Hasbro's making money, as long as D&D is holding that 55 to 80%, market share, nothing's going to change. You can whine and cry all you want, but guess how much Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro actually cares about you? Not at all. Sorry, not at all. Doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum, if you're a old school player, if you're a current player, if you're a future player, if you think Wizards of the Coast actually cares about what you have to say about Dungeons & Dragons, I assure you they don't, and they won't until we can get that 55% ceiling shattered by another game. Once those, sales drop below that 55% magic mark, then Hasbro will go, oh, we need to change things because we're now losing money. So instead of whining and crying and complaining about a new movie, we should be, of course, focusing all that energy on pushing a game company that might have a chance to shatter that 55% ceiling, like Free League or Modifius or some of the OSR stuff. I mean, the solution is not to, I'm going to say bad words and write my own game. No, that's not the solution. The solution is to get behind the runner-up who we think can shatter the 55% ceiling. Because then what we have to say about our dissatisfaction with Dungeons & Dragons will matter, because that's when Hasbro will start listening. In regards to this movie, it just sounds like another chance to, for the Hollywood D&D hot topic cool kids to rewrite D&D history in their favor and, of course, say, celebrities created D&D and D&D is therapy and living in that fantasy world can help your human real-life connections, 3 pillars of, satisfaction and social integration, and D&D is therapy. And basically all the things we don't want people to think about D&D, cult-like devotion, power of living in a fantasy world, is what they're going to focus on. So, yeah, which is, of course, again, starting all this whole please stop rewriting Dungeons & Dragons. And which, of course, the response is, well, they're going to keep doing it until we get them until they stop making money. And I know when I say that, it upsets people up. People are like, oh, how dare you? It's, Hasbro and blah, blah, blah. And you're part of the problem and blah, blah, blah. And, blah. And it's like, Hasbro doesn't care. I'm sorry. It doesn't care what you think about Dungeons & Dragons because they're making money. They really do not care. As long as they are making money, as long as D&D is above that 55% to 80% market share, they don't care. They do not care how angry you are. And I'm sorry if that makes me a Wizards of the Coast simp and part of the problem, but, beating up green-haired kids and yelling foul words and calling me names is not going to change the problem. The problem is to vote with your wallet. Do not support this movie. Support games like Mophidius and, Free League, who really have a chance. Hey, everybody should start playing Call of Cthulhu again. Number 2 role-playing game in the world, right? Anyway, so there's a movie from a company nobody's heard of by some people who've made some rather questionable documentaries, and it looks like they're going to focus on all the stuff we'd rather them not. And there's a whole, and when I shut down for the day yesterday, I was like, oh, well, there can't be anything else that's going to come up with, and we've already got so much shit from just since Saturday. I mean, the rest of the week's going to be easy, right? Nope. There is so much more going on that we need to possibly address, but I thought I'd get to this one first because, Dungeons & Dragons the movie. Now, let's face it, we know there is only one real Dungeons & Dragons movie, and it's Hawk the Slayer. Or Lady Hawk. Or maybe Ralph Bashki's Wizards. Yeah. Hawk the Slayer. Anyways, till next time, I am your veteran of 1,000 Psychic Wars, the OG GM. If you appreciate this nonsense, let me know. Take a moment to subscribe and help me hit 1,000 subs. And I will talk to you in a couple minutes. Till then, get out of my dungeon, you damn kids, and your damn elf, and your damn dwarf, and your damn hobbit, and your damn whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. Is that Merlin Wayans?